I'm doing a session for a client. This is going to be psychic wisdom and energy healing that I'm sharing here. If any of you are interested in exploring a psychic session with me, you can book a session at my website at abbeynormalswisdomquest.com. I'm going to go ahead and read the goals for the session, relax, and then I'm going to get started. Okay. I have an interesting fear. I have a fear of the dentist, which I really want to get past. I almost blacked out one time because of the fear. Let's see what comes up. Okay. That's really intense. You almost blacked out at the dentist? That's really intense. All right, I'm going to relax here and let's see what comes up. Okay. So this is the scene that I'm shown first. There's wavy lines, makes you think of water, like wind on the water. Maybe a lake instead of the ocean. And this is like a metallic, some kind of metallic liquid. But it's not like I can see this sort of levitating, this line levitating in the air, maybe 2 feet off the ground. And then it's clear. So I can see that there's sort of a dip here. I mean, it's almost like a surreal scene. Like maybe some other dimensional reality. They have water that looks like this. It's perfectly clear, except the very top has kind of a metallic effect to it. It's a bit, got some greenish hues, like teal colors in it. And I can see underneath the water, like I can see the ground here. Everything else is white everywhere. So the next experience I have is not knowing where I am. Not knowing what I'm looking at, not knowing what I'm doing. And I feel trapped. I'm trying to turn around to see what's behind me, and this literally feels like a different world. An actual real place. Being trapped in a real place. There's vibes like Star Trek and you know, going to places nobody's ever seen before and not even be able to comprehend what you're looking at because it's just so crazy and out there. But then being sort of beamed down to this place and then never being able to get off of this place, being stuck here. But they're saying it wasn't, you weren't beamed down. It's almost like you shifted dimensionally somehow. And then you weren't able to leave once you got here. Because you really feel like you're connected to a group of others and you cannot get back to them. You can't send in information. They don't know where you are. You cannot get back to them. And this is as terrifying as you shifted dimensionally into a piece of glass. And then when you expand the piece of glass, it looks like this weird place. And I don't feel any sensation of hunger or any sensation of air, any sensation of needing something to help sustain your body. It's almost like you're frozen in time, but you're still alive in that physical form. It's terrifying. It's absolutely terrifying. I mean, you are actually altering the dimension slightly because you're screaming. And the dimension is like tiny little cracks and breaks all throughout of it. It's like tiny little crystal shards, like it's cracking and breaking everywhere. And you just keep screaming and screaming and screaming and screaming and screaming, and you can't even move. And how your mind is responding to your experience is having a direct influence on the way that this reality is reacting to you as well. And they show me a scene where there's a mirror that is somehow breaking from the inside and it's starting to collapse. And the mirror contains yourself. And when the mirror collapsed, how are we ever going to get to you? Now they're showing me a new scene, and it's like, I remember being a kid and watching, I think it's called House. It is a horror movie. Maybe you guys know what I'm talking about. Maybe I got the name wrong, but basically there was this one part, and I remember this. I was just a little kid watching this, where you could move the mirror and you could go through the house. Was like this living thing, and there's all this demonic stuff going on, all this evil stuff. And I feel like in my memory, maybe there was a big brother that had to go into, like, had to move the mirror and then go into this, like, complete black void that was inside their house in order to, like, rescue a little brother or something. But it's absolutely terrifying. It's absolutely hell terrifying. It's impossible. It's impossible for this to be real, okay? That's the next vibe that I'm picking up on, is the impossible, and it's absolutely horrifying. And nobody can hear your screams. Okay, this is getting even grosser still, because you're manifesting, and it's really disturbing. You can't seem to stop the screaming, and even though you are trying to stop screaming, your screams are still echoing forever, is what it's like. And I still see the splintering shards of the reality just happening everywhere. Everything's just splintering as though it was always very dense. Again, it's like you went into a piece of glass and then you kind of expand the glass, and then it's a space. It's a very weird looking place. But you can't seem to go anywhere or do anything, and there's no time, and you're trapped here. So as you calm down to try to stop the screaming is still going. It's still ripping this place apart, tiny little bits at a time, and it's ripping you apart now. And now your screams are literally starting to rip your own flesh apart. It's so disgusting to watch this, and it's small little bits. It's eating away at your flesh. Your screams are. Even though you stop screaming, your scream won't stop, and it's eating away at your flesh now. It's so messed up. It's really messed up. Somehow I'm sensing the people that you were connected to, they're starting to figure out where you are. And you're noticing this because something is flashing, and your mind is shifting, and you're desperate. You're desperate, like, get me out of here, like, help me, help me, help me. You're desperate. And they're starting to discover where you are, and they can't figure out how to get you out. There's a female especially that's extremely, like, she can't cope with this. She's wearing like a really light, like, lime green. It's got a yellowish hue to it as well, and it's like literally like a one-piece outfit. She has blonde hair. I feel the chaos on two sides, because I experience it ringing through herself as well, and she experiences inside of herself like she's gonna blow up from the inside, like if you put a bomb inside of a watermelon and it just blew up everywhere. And so she's starting to feel, it's almost like you and her are truly connected, to the point that she can experience your suffering inside of herself, and she too is taking it on herself. Like, that for her, it's more like she's gonna blow up from the inside, and literally I see a scene where all of her body is splattering all over the place. And I just chill out, everybody. I'm watching this whole event happen. I'm gonna alter this whole experience. I'm gonna alter all of this, okay? Yeah, I can't yet. We're gonna have to watch it happen all the way through. And it's gross. Like, your bones are now, it's getting into your bones, and your bones are breaking. You're still alive. I can't really understand your life force energy, because this dimensional space is so strange. I don't even know how a physical body got in here. Is that why it feels like you entered into glass? Because you carried your physical body into what would be a spiritual realm, and then got stuck? Because I don't feel like I don't feel like, I mean, I don't feel like any need for food. I don't feel a relationship with time. I don't feel like it's almost like you carried your body in, and then you just got stuck, and you got stuck in what would be the densest, it created some kind of density here. But it's slowly chipping away at your bones and you're still alive. And it's a horror scene. And she is experiencing it inside of herself and watching in horror, and nobody can help you at this point. You're done. Like, they're basically just watching you die and feeling completely helpless. You're almost there. Because what's helping you to get out of this? All right. This is another way of understanding where you went and how this happened. So the only reason that you're not in this experience of suffering is because you somehow, a realization took place that you could leave your body. Because I still can't interpret it, because I don't know, did you actually die but you thought you were still alive? How did you bring your density to a spirit realm space and then get stuck there? Were you dead all along? But you didn't know it? Like, and then you were manifesting this, but it was fully real. It was fully felt. It was fully experienced. Even the pain, because how you perceived everything that was taking place, you created the experience of pain and suffering as well. But you had the ability to leave your body all along. You just didn't know how to. It's like things had to escalate to such an extreme degree that somehow you decided that you must be dead now, and then you set yourself free from the body. Because the only way you're going to get out of that is to shed the physical form. Unless your friends could have figured out some way to get you out, but they seemed really perplexed. And now that you're out, oh man, it's like, what the heck happened? But you're actually like so happy. So happy because it was a nightmare. You thought you were going to be stuck there forever. And you're not. Like, it was just a weird thing that you just went through. It means it's just a weird thing that you went through. And you're a soul and you're just like doing backflips and leaps and you're just like laughing hysterically. Like, what? I'm out of this. Oh God, thank you. It's like that. Her suffering is gone as well. And it's almost like she has nightmares, which is very unusual. And it's like in her nightmares, they just keep showing me she looks down and her hands are covered in blood and there's nothing she can do about it. And it's absolutely mortifying. It's like a recurring dream, and this is the one thing they keep showing me that she sees in the dream is blood on her hands, and she can't do anything about it. And she's screaming like she's having a normal dream, and then all of a sudden things are going dark. She looks down and there's blood on her hands, and then everything starts to be remembered, and she starts to scream and she can't move. And then she wakes up. Oh, wow, you watch over her. I can't understand the relationship with time because it feels like they could live 1,000 years. I mean, you watch over her for years and 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 years. And you never leave her side. You stay with her until her last moments. And even then, I can't really conceive of how they actually die. Because it feels like their lifespan is unbelievably long. And it doesn't look like they ever age. It takes her what could be hundreds of years to find a new pace and a new breath and a new stance, but she always has this grayed effect to her personality, has this like gray to it. She got grayed out and she couldn't become colorful again. There's one moment, and this is like hundreds of years later, but for them you could maybe say 10 years later. But the way this feels vibrationally, it's like unbelievably long time, like hundreds of years. And there's a moment hundreds of years later where she finally is aware that you're there with her, and she hears you. She receives you. This is a bit, this is hard. Because when she is aware that you're there, this creates a response in her mind. And it's kind of like, maybe a loved one passed away and you felt like they were there, and you always just feel like they're there, and you just say, you know what, they're not there. They died. I need to just live my life. I need to just move on with my life. So she's kind of having a moment like this. They seem quite practical. They seem more on the sciencey side than more spiritual. But she does sense you still here. It's like for the first time she's aware of you in the energy, in an energetic way. And then it kind of creates, they show me just a scramble in her mind, and she says, no, that's not real. And this is all outer space. This is all spaceship. I mean, I see her on a spaceship. But somehow her sensing you after all those hundreds of years, and even though her mind kind of scrambled it and said no, it started to bring the color back to her. Because in a way she needed just that much of you, just that much of you, just that much memory of you to help her feel colorful again. She still never really moves on, but she does find a part of herself returning, and she starts to smile again. She still has some nightmares. These are a little bit different. I can't understand it. It's almost like a scary guy is standing. Again, it's like a normal dream, and then all of a sudden everything goes dark around her, and she looks up and she sees kind of in the distance a man who's wearing a black cape, and he has very pale skin. And she's suddenly terrified by this and then wakes up. I will say these people, they're kind of like a dog, for instance, is living in the moment. But a dog that's abused, for instance, is still living in the moment, but it carries kind of the maybe the shadow of that abusive beginning. It can carry that in its behaviors. Maybe that's not the best example, but they seem to be living in the moment, although she was so shaken and so rattled up to the core that that changed her. But I see her living in the moment and becoming bright and starting to kind of come back to what is their normal approach. And it's not as if she's necessarily living in the past or dwelling on anything. It's just saturated in her day-to-day, in her body. Saturated in her body. And it's not something you just purge out. You live with it for hundreds and hundreds of years and have scary dreams that are very unusual. And everything's kind of flat in the way that they don't have like therapists or psychologists. Everything is very matter of fact and in the moment. And so she wakes up from a scary dream and she acknowledges it, but then she just goes on with her life. Although she's quite like not what she used to be. Like the bulb is dimmer. But when she felt you for that moment, it did activate the color to come back, and she starts to smile, and she's still living in the moment, but she's more herself living in the moment. And she carries you inside of her, everywhere. Their relationship with loss and sorrow is different. because it almost seems like they just keep going about a normal day, but they carry the echo of what they went through in their body language and actions. You're very animated as a spirit. You're very colorful. You're very nurturing. You're full of hugs. You're full of kisses. And you're constantly near her and wanting to nurture her. Man, this is a really like extended. I mean, I'm supposed to tell you more about this lifetime. All right. So she feels you, okay? And then she just comes back to herself as though that wasn't really what happened. But she's gained color, right? But something also peculiar is happening because she's absorbing you. She's carrying you with her in a new way because of that. And I see hundreds of years more where she's sensing you more, which means she's becoming more colorful. And she is acknowledging it. She is acknowledging you now. She is acknowledging your presence, which is outside of the scope of their style. Because again, they're living in the now, like, to a crazy degree. They live in a crazy long time. They don't cry. They just behave. Their body language is different because they're not as emotional as we are. But you can tell a difference in her. She's gray, then she's more colorful. She's finally smiling. And now she is noticing your energy, your presence. And she is feeling things that are different for this race of beings. She's even looking forward to time where she can be alone to see if she notices you there. Almost like you're building a relationship again. Her as a physical being, you as an energy being. And there's no difference. And she's acknowledging that she doesn't need you to have a body because it's your energy that she was always attracted to. And I start to see you in a way merging more with her body, and she's carrying more of your energy inside of herself. And I start to see you even, it's almost like you're fully merging and you're going through life together in the same body. And she knows this. She welcomes you in her so she can carry you with her everywhere. So she doesn't have to wait for her to be alone, that she is fully blended, fully connected to you. This is, I don't sense that the other people are registering or are tapping into this. This is kind of like her own thing that she's got going on that doesn't really need to be talked about. And it's not like, it's just she becomes brighter and she becomes fulfilled, and her heart is sort of free in a place of sheer contentment is the best way I could define it. That's love, is sheer contentment. And she feels like herself. She feels whole. When she and you are together, she feels whole. And that terrible event is not, it doesn't even, she's not even reminded. I don't see any scary dreams. I see her even being quite a wise person in this group of people. And I'm talking, is this big spaceship full of hundreds of people. And it didn't start that way. It seemed like a small ship with like 8 people. And it's been getting larger with more and more people. And now I see her actually on what is like a planet and having some kind of interaction and speaking to many people. And I don't know that she's talking about souls or energy or love, But because she's becoming so whole, she has a wiser perception and understanding of what they do and what their ideas are and how they want to grow as a community. She's able to channel more. She's able to share more and express more and perceive more and think more expanded, because she is brighter inside, because she has you with her, because she went through this process that is very unusual for these people, and continue to express herself after having gone through this crazy process. And she's just, I mean, she's marvelous. She's like, the light bulb is on and it is brighter than ever before. And she attracts people. Like, people are drawn to her. They're drawn to her voice. They're drawn to her energy. They're drawn to her ideas. And she's like a leader of the people. She's one of the leaders. This is very harmonious. I mean, these are very harmonious people. But they also aren't emotional. They don't process their reality based on their emotions. So when the tragedy happens, yeah, it was felt because their souls connect. I mean, they really are connected at a soul level, even if that's not what is important in the way that their day-to-day functions work. But the more light that she has, the more brilliant she is. In her mind, in her ideas, in her nature. And she has you. And I sense her soul now, and she's kind of giggling and saying, 2 heads were always better than 1. And she's kind of winking, like, of course she was wiser, because it wasn't just her in there, it was her and you. So it's 2 heads were better than 1. She's very lighthearted. She's very funny, very positive. It's almost like she really likes to cheer people up. Like, she has kind of like a nature, like she's attracted to playing roles where she cheers people up. And you cheered her up. She had to go through an extreme scary thing. And she went through it, and you were there with her, and you cheered her up, and then 2 heads are better than 1, and she achieved so much, but you achieved it with her. Guys, you see what I'm talking about here? So, is the dentist then reminding you of this lifetime? I feel happy. I feel like I don't know what else to do, because I just want to bask in this like awesome experience here. All right, I'm gonna have to chill. Really grateful for that. All right. I'm gonna ask your guides, higher self, angels, gods, galactic family, etc. Like, I'm just gonna ask all. So why this lifetime in relation to a fear of the dentist? There's some mirrors to it in a way. And they show me, for some reason, when you go to the dentist, it's like you have to sit in that chair and you can't go anywhere. And if they're working on your teeth, you can't go anywhere. You are stuck right there. And there's something similar to that. It's very mild, but it somehow triggered a relationship with this lifetime. Because your soul's been looking for ways to resolve that in the incarnate state. Because even as a soul, you were triumphantly joyful to get out of that. But in the incarnate state, that's still part of your soul learning. So somehow there was the gift of the dentist that was giving your soul access to that terror, and giving you an opportunity to say, whoa, this is crazy, what's going on with me, in order to manifest an opportunity to heal that. So I'm going to ask your soul, do you feel like this lifetime alone is helping you to heal this with the dentist? You say this lifetime alone, just you hearing it is resolving something really deep in your soul. And you're grateful that the dentist could take you there so that this could be brought into balance. I'm going to ask if there is anything else that triggers you about the dentist at the soul level. Anything else? Okay. This is disturbing. There's a... Alright, I'm sitting in a dental chair. And I hear a saw blade going really, really, really fast. A little handheld saw. And I see this really just a basic human face, just this guy's face. And he has kind of like a light on his head and glasses. And when he smiles, he creeps me out. And I hear the sound of this buzzing little saw. And when it goes on, it's just very scary, very overwhelming sound. Let me see what happens next. It just stops there. I never see the saw ever cut your skin or do anything. But it's something about his smile and something about his eyes that does not sit right. And you don't trust him at all. Not in a million years. You're waiting for him to actually torture you. But for some reason, he doesn't. And you don't understand why he isn't torturing you. And because when you look into his eyes, you see something in those eyes that says this man tortures people. And it's terrifying. At every moment, you feel like the unexpected is about to happen and you are going to be tortured. But it never happens. It never happens. So I'm telling your energy field, then you can acknowledge that when you go to the dentist, you are not being tortured. And you got to trust that when you go to the dentist, you are not being tortured. This is actually an opportunity to clean up your mouth and your smile and to help you feel more beautiful and more fresh and healthy in your mouth. I'm just shifting the energy from something that is scary to something that is actually really beneficial, really wonderful, really good. You show me again that guy's face and you're like, I just don't like him. I just don't like him. And I say, okay, why this face? I mean, I guarantee you could go to any dentist. Why this face though? No matter what dentist you go to, it's this face, it's this energy that kind of haunts you there. You show me that you now have the saw and you are not afraid to use it on his face. But then the saw disappears and you never use it on his face. And you're even confused. And then you start to cry and you say, what is wrong with me? Like, what is going on? I say, just keep looking at him in his eyes, okay? Let's give him a saw. Let's give him some scalpels. Let's give him some scary tools that he can cut you with. Let's create a different scene where it's not a dental office. It's like a torture chamber. Let's tie you down. Let's make this super scary, okay? Like, let's go all the way here. Oh, yeah. Yeah. This is bringing up a whole can of worms. So what we're going to do is we're just going to acknowledge that that this scary stuff is not happening right now. This is not the present life. And this guy is not here. I mean, this is like this is a whole nother path of exploration, because you know the soul, and this soul has harmed you in other lifetimes, and it's almost like a guarantee that this soul, whenever you cross paths with it, will always harm you. It's quite possible that this dentist is the exact same soul, but this time the soul is not going to hurt you. And it's very hard for you to believe that. I'm still having you look into his eyes, and I'm erasing all this scary stuff. Like you being cut into, you screaming, I mean, even removing your teeth. I'm not removing your tongue, just removing your teeth. I'm cutting into your face. Like, it's kind of like playtime for a psychopath. And, I mean, I see this scene, so it just gets louder and more scary. So we're just desensitizing you, because that is not what's happening right now. It is not. So we're erasing factors. We're erasing parts of the scene that's so scary. And we're helping you to see that this isn't actually happening in this reality. It's not happening here. It's like a scary dream. You're slowly coming more back to yourself. Let's see if I'm going to have you look into the soul's eyes again. And there's still something there, but I'm just filling the soul and your connection to what you see. I'm filling it with warmth, flowers, soft sand, ocean, sounds, forest, nature sounds. I'm creating a gentle energy. Creating a gentle energy when you hear like a sawing sound. Gentle energy. Touching your solar plexus, emotional gut. You are safe. I am safe. Breathe. All right. Thank you so much. Thank you so much for this experience. Thank you so much for sharing. I'm very grateful for this opportunity. It's really amazing what you can experience just in this journey state. Like, it doesn't matter if it's scary or if it's beautiful. Like there's so much value to every scene, because there's just so much takeaway and understanding why we as humans go through what we go through, and how to neutralize that fear. And it's just so crazy, the connections that we can have with souls, and the different ways that we can live our lives, you know, in other lifetimes, and the weird events that carry over into experiences at the dentist office as a human being on Earth, you know. It's just so crazy. Thank you so much. Thank you all also for watching, and thank you for all your beautiful comments and all your support. I hope you all have a very amazing rest of your day.